Also came out and said that he only got offered 15 million. The UFC wouldn't go above it.
Last one.
Obviously, he's
15.
So, would you be open possibly in the future once Aspinall's out of his UFC contract, possibly Matchroom MMA, you could make that fight?
Yeah, but they're under contract. If they weren't under contract, I could do Aspinall against John Jones and I'd pay them double what the UFC offered them probably. But they're under contract, so it's not. This isn't a case of, as I said when we signed Aspinall, it wasn't a case of we're looking to bust him out of his contract. We're just looking to have sensible conversations. To say, if you want to do Tom Aspinall against Pereira for the World Heavyweight Championship, respect the guy, will you? If there's 100 million in the pot, don't give him $1 million. Yeah, he's a defending champion. It's a joke. So hopefully, they're going to have to do something because they're in a bad situation at the moment. And I think they're going to have to listen to the fighters and give them what's fair.
Eddie, you said that you're going to camp with Joshua next week in Spain. Is it a case of deciding who the opponent is? Is he likely to have a warm-up, or can he go straight into a Fury fight?
Yeah, I think it's very likely he'll have that warm-up fight in July. Obviously, there's conversations with Turki Al-Sheikh, and his representatives will be with me next week. So we'll have those conversations. Do you know, a lot of it, to be honest with you, is about how he feels. Like, he's done 4 days in camp and now he's in Ukraine, bizarrely. And he'll have his second week next week. And listen, if he feels unbelievable and watches Fury Makhmudov and goes, fuck it, I'll go straight in, maybe. But my gut feeling is that we'll have that fight in July and look to fight Tyson Fury at the end of the year.
Is Jamel Charlo an option for Boots?
Yeah, but I just can't see it. I can't see him going straight into that fight unless you pay him some obscene number.
Now that we're just a couple of weeks away from Fury Makhmudov, I'm sure you've seen what Big John Fury's had to say about how much of a threat Makhmudov could be. How much of a threat do you think Makhmudov actually is now that we're a couple of weeks away?
Not a big threat unless Tyson Fury's shot.
Yeah.
And I don't believe he is at all. So I think he'll win every round. I think he'll win the fight on points.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he'll just sort of, don't forget he's been out for a while, like he's coming off 2 Usyk defeats. I think sometimes we just expect you just to go in and look great all the time. Maybe he does, but I think he'll win. I think it's a very good opponent for him.
Obviously, if Fury does lose, does retire again, what's the big fight for you for AJ? Because AJ wants to be involved in big fights. Is there anything that sticks
Fabio
out?
Wardley for the World Heavyweight title, Daniel Dubois rematch.
Yeah.
There's loads of fights out there, but Fury's the biggest fight in the sport still, and we hope he wins.
Is the AJ warm-up in July, will that be in the UK?
No idea. We could fight anywhere in the world.
Catterall Ramiro's likely to happen. Rick Milligan said he has a venue, I think $1 million.
He said, I guarantee $1 million. And I said to him, can you confirm you guarantee $1 million? And he went, yeah, this is... yeah, so not really. But yes, there's a very good chance that fight could be next. We're speaking to DAZN. Our priority, of course, is Jack Catterall, and we need to lock in his next fight.
Talking about options, George Lillard was talking about there's various options and routes to go. Tonight, I know you said you was looking possibly to fight Liam Smith, another opponent potentially for the future. Could it be Stephen McKenna?
Yeah, maybe. It's a good fight. I like the Liam Smith fight because obviously he's got great name value and he's a very good fighter. We were going to fight him tonight, but he wanted a bit more time. I think he was unsure about his future, so we'll see.
Lely Buttigieg, he had a great start. How concerned was you when the points was coming off that he might potentially get DQ'd?
He wasn't just losing points, he was losing rounds. I had him, thought he won the 7th, I thought he won the 8th, might have won the 7th, but I had him I think going into 9, I had him 5-4 down and the 2 points, right? So basically, has to stop him. And actually, when they took the second point, he looked at us and I said, you have to knock him out. So stop fucking around and knock him out. And I said to him, you have to throw with him. It's the only way you're going to knock him. And that's exactly what he did. He just bit down and traded up every time Goodwin threw. And he forced an incredible dramatic stoppage.
What's the situation with Troy Williamson? Because obviously we're supposed to be on the Fury Makhmudov card. Yeah. That's now not happening. So when can we expect to see the rematch?
So the situation is that he boxed Callum Simpson. Boxer had a rematch clause, of which they exercised, no problem. And then there was some kind of conversations that went on without our consent, for the Fury card, and he can't fight anybody else because Boxer have exercised their option. So I believe people spoke to Boxer and said, please let him take this fight, and Boxer said no, which they're well within their right to do so. They have a contract with him. So he's going to rematch Callum Simpson, and we look forward to that, and we're just waiting for final news.
May the 2nd, is that realistic? Would it be
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I thought they're May the 2nd, I think they're in Holland or something like that. I don't know. But
end of May?
Whatever. It's not a question for me, it's a question for Boxer. But we've signed a contract, we're waiting. By the way, Troy Williamson lost a shot at the world title because of this rematch clause, but they had the right to do it. The Boxer haven't done anything wrong. But let's get the fight on and let's win the rematch and move on.
Early boxing scene reporting that Boots Zayas for June 6th in New York. Is that accurate?
No.
Is he likely? Do you think that'll happen?
There's some talks going on, and obviously, don't forget, Top Rank have done their deal with the Zone, so that's encouraging. But it's nothing to do with Matchroom and Top Rank. It's to do with Boots and Xander. And if Xander wants that fight, we'd love to oblige. You know, the Ortiz fight was incredible. That's another incredible fight for the Unified World Championship, and we'll have to see. But June the 6th is not true at all, and we'll see how it progresses.
When will Dalton's fight be announced? Because obviously that's rumoured for June the 6th.
Hopefully this week. We're talking to Louis de Cubas and Puello's team, and hopefully get it over the line.
And Ben Whittaker, new fight announced. Obviously, opponent not been revealed. Do you know what type of caliber of opponent we could be?
A decent opponent. I mean, don't forget he's going to be fighting a month or so after in America in a big fight, so it's not going to be like a 50-50 fight or anything. But we're going to keep him busy, get him back in the ring against a respectable opponent, and then he's going to fight as co-main event on the Boots card, and then he'll headline in August, September, back in Birmingham. So nice and busy.
Conor Walker tweeted earlier this week saying that a fight announcement was going to happen this week. Any update on that?
Yeah, that will be announced this week on the most disgustingly brutal card I think I've ever put together, and that will be announced this week.
What's the latest with Josh Kelly?
A few conversations. You know, Xander Zayas, Jaron Ennis, a defence in the north east. Again, this week is moving week for a lot of that stuff, so he's part of that mix.
And obviously, you said that there's going to be new additions to the Matchroom Talent Agency. I think that's something that's very exciting. When can we start hearing about more additions to?
Possibly this week. There's going to be a couple of signings from surprisingly different industries.
Sports, still sporting industries?
Not just sport, no. Not just sport.
And lastly, on the Aspinall, obviously your whole goal is, to help these fighters get more money. But at the end of the day, they are beholden to their UFC contract. So what are you going to do if Dana and the UFC just say, listen, this is what you're getting paid. You either take the money or you don't.
Then maybe they won't fight again. I think a lot of those fighters will say, do you know what? Fucking won't even bother fighting. Because honestly, if I was Tom Aspinall and you wanted to give me that kind of money to rematch Gain or fight Alex Pereira, I wouldn't bother. I'd just retire. There's no point. It's no money. It's like you can't even do anything with that money. Time you've paid your tax and paid your team, you've just had your eyes gouged out. You've had 4 operations on your eyes. It's not even remotely life changing. It's not going to change his life one bit. Yet there's $100 million in a pot, and you can't be fair. And I think Tom Aspinall is at the stage in his career, and again, this isn't about trying to get out of his contract. I think there's a very good chance if he has to fight for that kind of money. My advice to him would be, if you ain't bothered, fuck it off, because it's a joke.
Is this just a simple case of Dana White being greedy and not paying the fighters what they deserve?
The organisation's greedy, but that's their model. So they're not doing anything wrong. And as Tom Aspinall said, quite maturely, I signed the contract. But contracts can change, and like we have situations all the time where a fighter, all of a sudden, becomes much more valuable than the money he's on. You can't keep him there on that money because it's going to cause a massive argument. And if you're honest with someone and say that money's not fair, and you go, no, it's not. But by the way, that might be then an extension of a contract. That happens quite a lot, where a fighter will say, I think this contract's not right for me now. And I might say, no, you're right. So I'll either give you more money, or I'll give you more money and sign an extension. It's just a natural thing to do.
Last couple, please. Have you met with Dana this week with him being in London?
No.
Eddie,
Yo.
the plot thickens with Conor Benn. Yesterday you labelled him a dog. If you could say one thing to him. If you could choose one of your fighters to fight against him, just one, who would you go for?
Jerome Boots Ennis.
And what would you feel the outcome of that fight would be? How
Listen,
many rounds would that go?
Conor's a good fighter. I'm not going to start slagging him off as a fighter, because his improvements have been incredible. But you know, next week, I mean, or not next week. What is it? 3 weeks away. I mean, I've just heard tonight that Conor Benn's fighting Regis Prograis over 10 rounds. 15 mil for 10 rounds. Like, might be a tough fight. Southpaw. Don't know. But yeah, look, I'm not. I've got nothing negative to say about him as a fighter. I think he's improved bundles. But yeah, I mean, I think Jerome Boots Ennis. But I'd love to make Josh Kelly versus Conor Benn. That's for a world title.
Does Boots Ennis, does he stop him? Does he stop him like brakes on a bike?
I think Boots Ennis is arguably pound for pound #1 fighter. So I think he'd win the fight. But you know, Conor's a good fighter. Tough.
Obviously, Tony Sims here tonight. Obviously, he's had a great relationship with Matchroom. He's obviously very involved with Conor Benn. Have you spoken to him? How is that relationship going to be going forward?
There was a lot of people on the team who reached out and were obviously disappointed. But Conor's in charge of that. So, and I said to Tony, don't worry. Like, this is an opportunity for Tony to make a load of money. You know. So I would never say to Tony Sims, "No, you better not work with Conor Benn again," because it would be ridiculous. It's not his problem. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, no, that was never a problem.
I know you said you had some groundbreaking news for the boxing industry, potentially if it comes off. How close are you to that coming off?
All kinds of news coming. There's huge fight announcements. There's industry news. There's signings. You will get one of those 3 minimum next week.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much.
It's Danny Glover, Fight Fan TV, proudly sponsored by Treasure Boxing Club. And remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.